Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Fox of JM2 Architecture,
And I'm Marissa of Marisa Orlich Interiors.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about concrete. Now, you had mentioned something that you had a conversation about recently, which was concrete on the interior
Hmm.
of a home.
Yes.
And I know concrete mainly from the exterior, right? The
Hmm.
constructability of a building. So, what was a little bit about the conversation that you had and how you're incorporating concrete?
So I'm working on a bathroom, and it's a master bathroom, and the client really likes industrial pieces, more
Mm-hmm.
modern looking pieces. So I'm blending his personality with the design and really tailoring it to his aesthetic. And in the conversation, we were talking about how we could use different materials in the design
Sure.
in different ways in different rooms. And as we were in the bathroom, we were talking about doing a double vanity concrete
Mm.
sink. And it would be two individual sinks, a his and hers, and it would be made entirely out of
Wow.
concrete.
Yeah.
And you can dye the concrete
Mm-hmm.
whatever color you like. We could decide on different sheens of it, so it could be really shiny, it could
Sure.
be
Yeah.
more matte. So there's all these different finishing agents into it
Mm.
that could make it better for waterproofing, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a cool feature.
Yeah.
I see it on floors. We do a lot of it when the houses are a bit bigger and they're more modern and
Mm-hmm.
more sleek looking. Gives
Right.
you really beautiful sheen on the floors, and get some really lovely rugs that go on top of
Mm-hmm.
it to dictate the space of a room. But that's where,
I love that look.
yeah.
And it is almost a focal point, right? Or a special
Hmm.
feature of the home.
Yeah.
How often do you see a concrete countertop, whether kitchen, bathroom? I mean, that's a very unique feature.
It's a unique feature, and it's not for everyone. I
Mm-hmm.
think it definitely depends the client. And I mean, with all the designs that I do, everything is so personalized
Yeah,
to
sure.
the individual homeowner. So this is a special case. The
Mm-hmm.
homeowner is a bit more mechanical and likes things a bit more edgy. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be a great feature
Yeah.
to add to the space. And it might not be something for everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really something to explore.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's going to be a really great feature.
And like you said, there are ways to finish it and
Mm-hmm.
perhaps dye it, like you said, to make it more appropriate for the overall aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to make it darker or lighter, really just based on the overall
Right.
finishes
It's
of the home.
not just gray.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
not just a gray, you think
Mm-hmm.
gray concrete. It's going
Right.
to be dyed a beautiful white, and we might do
Mm-hmm.
something sleek. And if it comes to fruition, I'll happily share photos for all of you to
Yeah,
see.
definitely.
But yes, I mean, I do it on the interior, you do it on the foundations.
Right. Well, there's no home or building, right, that's
Right.
not built
Right.
on concrete.
Right.
But there's a lot of different considerations that go into designing a concrete
Mm-hmm.
foundation. You talk about the floor. Even in either a finished office, we're seeing that polished concrete
Mm-hmm.
look, or you look at a warehouse, right? We have industrial buildings, warehouses, manufacturing areas. That floor is probably a concrete, and maybe it's not, for a finished office or a living room.
Mm-hmm.
But there are ways to seal that concrete to protect it from machinery, things like that. The slab itself, if you were to cut a section or take a piece of that concrete and look into that, what is inside of it? What does the rebar and the steel look like in there? Certainly if you've got, a house or just an office, you're going to have maybe just a simple what's called a mesh reinforcing in the
Mm-hmm.
slab. But if you're doing machinery, or you're doing racking in a warehouse where you have racks, and you picture like these Amazon warehouses that are like gigantic. Well, all the weight on those racks, they all sit on that slab. So what is the engineering of that slab to make it hold what's on top of it? And then you can look at the foundations in the same fashion. The footings, the foundations, you have reinforcing steel to strengthen that concrete and to make sure it can hold up whatever the structure is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we use concrete in pile foundations, either for houses on the water, or even for houses or buildings that have soils that aren't going to work with the normal foundation. So there's a lot of things to think about with the concrete. The additives in the concrete, the same regard as something on the inside, where if it's going to be visible, maybe you want it to have a certain look. Depending on its use, maybe it's going to be a little wetter or drier when you're applying the concrete. So there's a lot of different things, and that starts to get more into the construction side of things than the design. But if there's something that, we always have to make sure we design that for whatever the use and the size of the building is going to be.
And I imagine it's a different application for commercial spaces and residential. Every
building is really a little different, and it also depends on what is the wall made out of. Is it a wood wall? Is it brick? Is it a masonry, a concrete masonry? Because, you have to make sure that wall is going to be wide enough as well as structural, making sure that's wide enough to support the material on top. So there's a lot of different things that go into concrete that you may not even really think about when you're looking at someone doing a foundation wall.
Sure. And we'd love to know if anyone's used concrete in their own homes in the interior, or if you've had, just watched the foundation being poured on your own space. If you could share your experience, we'd love to hear. And I'm Marisa of Marisa Orlich Interiors.
And I'm Tyler Fox of JM2 Architecture.
Thanks.